The fight was a tough one as Lino slayed the demons limb by limb, cutting them. He was too strong for them and they disappeared back to their world to report to Grief. The reports of Lino attacking Grief messengers reached his throne of doom. He was furious and this time he sent multiple messengers with his new assistants who had earned the bronze skull badge of the Soul Taker. He bears the evil name Grease. Grief sent them in search of Lino and the priest. Back in the human world, Lino had caught up with the priest and his daughters. The priest thanked him for saving his life and asked his name. Lino told him and the priest could clearly recall that the name Lino was a dark name. He held his daughter by the arm and shifted from Lino. Just then Lino felt something cold on his arm. He looked and behold, he saw blood. This sight weakened him. He was beginning to be a real human. He was immortal. How comes he now sustained injuries? I am not a human. I am from the underworld sent to kill you. I failed in my mission and rebelled against my word, but I am now picking the complete true form of a human now, Lino said. He further told the priest about the attack that would soon launch on him. He commanded him to find a safe place. Mia soon hated Lino since he came to kill her dad. She proposed to take away her dad and move, but the priest knew deep down that repentance is for everyone. He was willing to help Lino get in contact with God, so instead of following Mia's decision, he decided to take Lino to the safe place, which was the church. The three marched to the church. The priest opened the doors and ran in with his daughter while Lino observed the outside before moving in. Lino informed the priest that the underworld agent would soon come on board because he already felt it. The priest took his oil and poured it on the floor, making a round circle. Then he took some incense and also poured it around the oil. "Dad, what are you doing?" the confused man asked. "Those who help in putting the demons away. It's a force field," her father replied. Then he passed her across. He gave Lino one, but Lino was too scared to hold it, so he declined. While the priest and his daughter stood inside the circle, backing themselves, Lino stood outside the circle, his feet strongly clinging to his sword. There was deep silence everywhere as everyone took position. Only the breath from their nostrils were heard. Suddenly, a strong wind hit on the building like it was about tearing it apart. The window shattered to pieces, and from it came demons from the underworld. The priest and his daughters held their cross, making a force too powerful for the demons to come close. Lino fought with his sword. His many attempts of teleporting failed due to the fact that he was picking the form of a human. He destroyed and cut them down limb to limb. Suddenly, Chris emerged from the front door. The bronze skull was clearly placed on his shoulders. Lino arranged the sword to take down the new Soul Taker. "Finally, you earned the badge," Lino said. "Yeah, I did. You never deserved it," Chris replied. The two got in a fierce battle, clashing their swords. While they fought, the demons who could not get close to the priest kept moving around them in circles. The battle between Lino and Grace grew tougher. Since Lino was no longer immortal, he sustained more injuries with Grace's sword, but he finally managed to defeat Grace after using his sword to pierce through his heart. Grace was dumbfounded as he fell to his knees. How come the Lino sword penetrated through his immortal flesh? The sword passed because it was the sword of pain given to him by Grief himself, made from the blood of saints. Not long after he had killed Grace, more demons struck him. "They're increasing. What can be done?" the priest asked from inside the circle. "Only one thing can be done. There is a gateway which connects the underworld to earth. That is how we get our passage to earth." The priest, who knew about things about dark, knew how to close the gate. He ran out of the circle. Mia tried to stop him, but Lino proposed to cover him while he get the equipment to cover the gate. The priest ran to gather the equipment. He grabbed the bag, which held all the incense he needed. Then he ran to the center of the church on a clear path. Lino cleared all the demons and the place was clear. As all the cold vanished, Mia ran out to assist her father. He made a big circle with some incense, then he used some chalks to draw some symbols on the floor. Suddenly, a small blazing light started splitting, and at the entrance of the door, it grew bigger and bigger till it opened up to a big portal. "What is that?" Mia asked. "Oh no, why is there a gateway on earth?" Lino said. Then he turned to the priest. "Do it quickly. This is a sign. The underworld are coming to earth. Be fast." Lino instructed, holding fast to his sword. After preparing the symbol, he started looking for the lighter to put the fire, which was the last rite. Suddenly, a strong wind blew from the gateway, and they all saw the clear statue of a person. Grief himself emerged from the gateway. Lino was shocked. He knew that Grief had succeeded in his plans to connect the gateway to earth to bring all his allies. He breathed fire from his mouth, striking the priest. Before the fire could cause any harm, Lino used a kind of blue mystical force to cover them. He immediately ran to Grief and grabbed him, pushing him hard back to the portal. He instructed the priest to continue closing the gate. Then he pushed the priest and also himself back to the underworld through the portal. They both landed in the underworld, and immediately Lino put his sword standing his ground. He knew it would be tough, but he had to. Grief cursed him for being a fool, for turning against his word in order to protect something else. He also cursed him for ruining a plan and he swore to destroy him. He removed his sword and each fighter took his position. Lino ran to attack, but each attack he made, Grief defended, and each defense took Lino to the ground. Lino knew Grief was stronger, but he had to. So he started bleeding from his head. "You fool, you are bleeding. Just look how you ruined yourself from an immortal to mere mortal. I shall cut you apart," Grief said. Lino managed to stand to his feet. He ran to attack again, but Grief threw him to the ground. Back in the church, the priest found his lighter. He put the fire on the symbols as it caught in flames. The gate started closing. Mia asked her dad to wait. She needed a way to save Lino before the gate closes, but it was too late. As the gate gradually closes, she grabbed a cross, and before her dad could stop her, she ran into the cage, teleporting herself to the underworld. There in the underworld, Grief was ready to slay Lino. He raised him by his neck. Lino was half dead. But before Grief could slay him, a bright light shone on him. He threw Lino to the floor and fell down. It was Mia. She held the cross. She ran to Lino, keeping the cross beside her. She raised his head, which was already bleeding. She was carried away by Lino pains and was not aware of Grief, who had raised on his feet. He struck her, throwing her away like a thin nylon bag. She fell down in pains as she groaned. "Foolish human," Grief said as he invoked more powers. He struck her again, but this time someone countered the attack as a mystical fire bounced back to Grief. It was her father who had his own cross, who had came just at the right time. The power of the cross invoked lightning on Grief, but he refused to be defeated. He exchanged his powers with the priest, creating blast as the cross repelled Grief's powers. Suddenly, Lino, who was half dead, a bright light shone on his chest, transforming his dark robe to white. Grief invoked all his powers, which hit the priest, throwing him backward. Grief laughed as his feet started floating on thin air. He invoked lightning, very powerful, to finish the tree before the gate could close, so he could continue on his mission. But suddenly, a powerful force hit him as he fell down. He opened his eyes to see Lino, completely transformed in white robes. Lino attacked him fiercely before grabbing a sword and thrusting it deeply into Grief's heart. Grief raised himself on the wall as he held his chest. Lino dropped the sword and assisted the priest, who got up on his feet again. Grief slowly faded to dust. The gate, the priest informed Lino about the gate, which was already closing. Suddenly, there came screeches of multiple demons running into the scene. Lino ran to me and took her. Then he told the priest to hang on. With the speed of rockets, he popped out of the place as all the demons followed. Lino burst into the church with the priest and his daughters, and immediately they emerged. The gate closed with a big bang and the sight vanished. Mia immediately coughed as she opened her eyes. She warmly hugged Lino and her dad. "Am I on the white?" Lino asked. The priest smiled at him. "That is a sign of a true human form. You are no longer of the dark but of light. We are now family," the priest explained. Then they all stood up as they walked out of the church with Mia holding Lino's hand. "Let's show you around the world," she happily said as they marched out. Back in the underworld, Grease was reincarnated by the priest of the underworld, and then he planned to wage war back on Earth again against Lino.